Hello and welcome to the first paid video for Christianity, Pope John the 23rd. This is for Studies of Religion 1 unit. Pretty much for Pope John 23rd, pretty much have to look at how he revolutionized the role of the Pope and served as an archetype for modern papacy. His revolution really much occurred for the Church in four main ways, in which he humanized the role of the Pope through Ecumenism and interfaith dialogue, involving the Church in world affairs, and also modernizing the Church and through the instigation of Vatican II. Now first I'm going to go on to the role, humanizing the role of the Pope. Now pretty much he aimed to strengthen the connection between the religious community and the lay people. He did this by visiting the sick and prisoners on important days such as Christmas Eve. He visited a hospital called Bambino Gesù. It's a famous case of him pretty much just reaching out to the lower people. But for him, he really brought that the Pope down to the people. There's a very good quote, which is something very good to use in your essays, which is, "Anybody can be the Pope. Proof of this is that I have become one." It's very humble person to say that, saying that just because he's a Pope doesn't make him any different from us to him. One of his final acts as the Pope was actually improving the wage of the Vatican employees and the social standings as well. So pretty much he's decreasing the separation between him and the other people in the Vatican, which pretty much are just normal people. So this led to him, all these things adding up, led to him being acclaimed as the people's Pope, which is a very good thing to use when talking about humanizing the role of Pope, because he really did become a Pope of the people through his interaction with the lay people at Bambino Gesù and visiting prisons, and then his famous words saying that proof that he can become Pope is proof that anyone can become Pope, and also improving the wages of the people. Now also this moved into ecumenism and interfaith dialogue. The main thing, a good thing you can talk about here is his Vatican II document Ad Petri Cathedram, which was created in 1959 and was based upon truth, unity, and peace. Now, this really centralized its idea around ecumenism, and this is where most of ecumenism, his ideas around that, came from. So if it's going to be a long document to read, but if you want to have a look at the main points, there may be some documents that summarize it. Just have a look at that and see what it's about. But pretty much what he encouraged was a promotion of gospel values, to work together for the good of the world and to pretty much follow in Jesus' God's steps. So an easy way of putting that is promoting common gospel values. Another important event which promoted ecumenism and interfaith dialogue is on the 2nd of December 1960, he met with Reverend Geoffrey Fisher, the Archbishop of Canterbury at the time. It was the first time that these two figures, the Pope and the Archbishop of Canterbury, had met in over 4 centuries. And not only this, leading more towards interfaith dialogue, he allowed like the first Shinto priest into the Vatican, and for the Vatican too, there was a lot of different religious people in there, really opening it up to everyone. What the impact of his actions was because of what he did and introduced. Christians now, but Christians find it easier to know, understand, and respect other religions, which is evident through stuff such as week of prayer. It really did not only change the Roman Catholic Church, which maybe some people's perceptions, but the whole landscape of Christianity. Adherents now in Christianity can communicate with each other, work together, and also churches help each other, and pretty much aim to create a better religious society for adherents of all faiths, not just as Catholicism or as a Christian. But yeah, so now we'll move on to world affairs. Another big point. The main document and one of the most important relating to Pope John the 23rd is Pacem in Terris, which pretty much means like world peace and establishing world peace. So pretty much it did that through truth, justice, charity, and liberty. This was in April 11th, 1963. This contextually was during the time of the Cold War, which is where the Cuban Missile Crisis comes into it. It was a major issue at the time. So pretty much in this document he called everyone to peace and tried to end the war. What he said in this document was the arms race creates a climate of fear. Now, this coming from a pope at the time was very different, because normally they stay out of it, they don't get involved too much in world affairs, but he was putting the perspective and support behind the peace and putting his own opinion into it. Now, on May 11, 1963, the Italian president Antonio Segni awarded the Pope the Bausen Prize for his engagement for peace. Now, another note is that was his last public appearance, but it shows what a role he played in this, is that he was given the Bausen Prize for it by the Italian Prime Minister. A very major event is that he excommunicated Fidel Castro in January 3rd, 1962 from the Catholic Church. So as I was saying, he pretty much excommunicated Fidel Castro for running a communist government. This really was a new phase for the church. This was unlike any other pope that had done before. So really, it changed the way that the Catholic Church, in particular the Pope, acted, because he wasn't just acting on behalf of the Church, but he was acting in the mindset that he wanted the greater good of society, not just to uphold their own needs and wants of the Catholic Church. And then this moves into modernizing the Church. Now, pretty much, Pope John was a visionary. He really had strong beliefs in a term called aggiornamento, which means like bringing the church up to date. He really did this through the instigation of the Second Vatican Council, or you can just call it Vatican II. Now, a very important part that you can mention is the removal of the three ills of the church under his tenure, which includes triumphalism, clericalism, and jurisdiction. And if you want to go more into that, you can have a look at the notes that come with this video, but that's just a very important part to notice. Now, the Second Vatican Council was significant because the church really needed to be brought up to date. The language in the Mass was Latin, in which for most people they couldn't understand, so it kind of created a disconnection. They changed it to the local vernacular, which was a very important thing. Along with that, the priest faced the congregation. The laity group was given a greater role, such as ministering the Eucharist. And really, it shows how the church today is committed to shaping the everyday life of society according to these gospel ideals. Really, it's now provides a focus on caring for the person in this life, not just the afterlife. It pretty much placed the focus on how they act today. So pretty much, just to summarize, what I've gone through in this video for Pope John is humanization of the role of Pope. Pretty much this is a good way to just go through and tick off everything you know about his role. His famous words that you could use in the quote about that anyone can become Pope, proof is that I have become one. His role's a very easy one. He's talking about how he met with Jeffrey Fisher, about how he allowed the Shinto high priest in the church, and the impact is something you should mention about what it's done for Christianity now. His role in world affairs, very important. Bausen Prize, so it was recognised by the world at the time as well. It's not just us retrospectively looking at it. And modernizing the church, probably the most important part, because pretty much allowed the church to connect with the local people, the people again. Okay, so I hope that helped. Again, this was a video by LOLhsc. It's Christianity, Studies of Religion 1 Unit, Pope John the 23rd. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to message us on our Facebook page, or just go through the notes and essay plans in the zip file with it. Thank you.